any positive things that you like on the show, that's me.
It's true.
That's true.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck. Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Hey, guess what?
What?
It's summertime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed that.
I did.
Temperature's starting to increase a little bit here.
I don't want it to increase too much. I just love the weather right now.
You're
in
like
the 60s.
me. You're like me, yeah. Especially, and I live in the San Fernando Valley where it's 110 on a good day.
Anything over 72 is too hot for me. I like it in the 60s and the 50s.
Right there with you. However, the only reason I bring it up is because with summer, even though it's been perhaps a few years since you and I were in school, I still have those feelings of summer vacation. Do you get that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you're probably better about this than I am as an adult.
Yeah.
I'm a little overdue for a vacation.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, until you talked me into doing this podcast, my life was a vacation. Thanks a lot.
But it's summer, and so then people start taking vacations, and it has me thinking about vacations and travel.
Yeah, got a great place for you to go if you want.
Where's that?
You've probably never been, but it is gorgeous. It is beautiful, and I highly recommend it.
Where?
Palmdale.
Palmdale.
Yeah, they got an Arby's there.
What? Oh, with horsey sauce?
With the horsey sauce. Although I'll just, fair warning, they changed chefs, so I don't know if it's as good as it used to be.
This podcast is sponsored by Arby's. Okay, so but I've been thinking about travel, right? So I'm thinking about vacations, and this makes me want to engage you because this is what we do.
Yeah,
engage you in a conversation about travel, and I found myself curiously wondering. I wonder what is the first trip Brian remembers taking.
It was huge.
Oh, yeah?
Huge.
Okay,
I'll never forget it.
Tell me.
Because it was a trip of many firsts. It was the first time I'd ever traveled alone without my parents and family.
Oh my God, we're in sync so far.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was 11 years old.
I was 10.
My parents put me on my first airplane ride.
Oh my God, we're telling the same. We should have talked before the show.
Really?
Okay, go. I'm shut up now.
Well, no. So you're the same. I mean, So my first airplane ride, and I seriously, it was I was more excited about the airplane ride than I was flying to Seattle, Washington.
Okay, so you're flying from where to Seattle?
They drove me up to Chicago, which is about a 3-hour drive from our town, and then they put me on a plane. And this is the couple of things that I'll never forget. It was such an event for me. And you see movies and television, you're a little kid, and you see guys wearing suits. I wore a suit.
Of course.
I wore a suit and tie.
Of course you did.
Because it was an event. And my father spent money on this.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be the best me I could be.
Right.
I would not allow myself to fall asleep. This was a long flight.
And by the way, this is back in the day when your parents could walk you right up to the gate and then just shove you on the plane. There was no flight attendant that would look after you. You didn't have a little button. Yep.
Luckily, I sat next to a guy, an older guy. Look, I was 11. Everyone's older than me. But he was just so kind, and he could tell. He goes, "This is your first flight?" Yes, first time on an airplane. I'm going to be on an airplane. Can't wait. And I spent the whole trip with my nose pressed up against the little porthole window.
Yeah.
I was just like, look, I just could. It was an event, and I wanted to be, like I said, the best me I could be and soak it all in. So I stared out the window the whole time. I would not allow myself to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And it was just a great, great experience. I get to Seattle, Washington, spend a week there, or was supposed to be a week, and then I was going to fly home and enjoy Christmas with my family, which is a huge, huge deal to not only my family, but very much to me.
Yeah.
Snowed in. Big snowstorm in Seattle.
Ooh.
Could not get out. So it was the first Christmas I ever spent away from home.
Wow, not just a vacation, but an extended vacation.
Yes. All right, now what? Tell your first trip.
No, I mean it's so similar to yours. I was 10. I lived in Tulsa, where I grew up, and my grandmother lived in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Which is only a couple hours drive, which we did all the time.
Right.
And, very middle class family. Like we'd never flew anywhere as a family, but I just kept talking I was in love with the Wright brothers. And so I just kept talking to my parents about flying. And one day I want to fly or whatever. And then they surprised me with a ticket to Oklahoma City, which is a 45-minute flight. So I didn't get to luxuriate in 3 hours of flight time like you did, but
still huge.
Still huge. And I can still, like, to this day, there's a part of me that is like completely plugged into that inner 10-year-old every time I look out the window of a plane and you get above the cloud barrier, and it's so magical. To go away someplace like that.
And when the sun, it may be storming. The inner 11-year-old in me, when you're gaining altitude and it's overcast, and then now we know what to expect. And I love this part. When you come out of the clouds and then there's just this pure white sun shining on it. It looks heavenly.
Yes. There's no other better way to put it. Now, okay, so you landed in Seattle. That's one of my favorite cities in the United States.
I landed
World's
Fair.
That's exactly right. You know my geekdom. But then I landed in Oklahoma City, which, it's Oklahoma City. But let's talk about destinations, though. So then, since our first travel, let's talk to me about some of the greatest trips you've ever taken and why they stick in your mind as particularly great.
All right. So I've always wanted, I love travel. I love hotels.
Same.
I love, and they don't have to be great hotels, but I just love sleeping in a different bed and experiencing the people. But I'll tell you, my first trip to Europe, and I knew I was going to go to Europe, was to London. And I picked London first because of the language barrier. I kind of wanted to ease in,
I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Were you 20s, 30s, 40? Where are you in life?
30s.
Roughly? Okay.
Just, like mid 30s,
okay.
I think. So London, and London was special to me because it was a perfect place to start because it's where I learned the simple joy of literally getting lost.
Oh, yeah.
I love everywhere I go, whatever country, whatever city, wherever I am, I intentionally get lost. In London, it wasn't intentional, but I was just, wide-eyed and just walking around, no idea where the hotel is. I just, it hit me in my heart, in my mind, that this is really, it made my head explode, kind of. It's like, this is what I wanted. I wanted an adventure. So I kept walking. I found a little pub. I went in to have a pint. And there at the bar was just me and another older guy, and he had his dog with him. And I started, making a fuss over the dog and petting it and rubbing its belly. And I just got into this great conversation with this old guy, and 2 hours went by. And you learn a lot about the culture, not just from a tourist guide. I'm not a guy, and I'm not saying, not talking against it, but I'm not a guy that will take a tourist bus. And like on your ride is, I just like experiencing and feeling everything. If there's an attraction or something I want to see, like the Eiffel Tower, of course I'll go see the Eiffel Tower because I have to, but nothing else. I just like the local aspect of things.
100%. And obviously there's different kinds of travel, right? There's like the prototypical relaxation travel where it's like the Hawaii experience, or in my mind, a go-to sort of meditative place is my honeymoon was in Bora Bora, right? And there was a point in Bora Bora where I had just slid open my coffee table and dove into the water through the coffee table, and it's body temperature water. And then I walked out onto the white sand beach and then got into a hammock and laid there for I don't know how many hours and lost all track of time and space. And that is a go-to place to this day for meditative purposes. But then there's that sort of more adventure travel, right? And similar to you, like the first time I went to Europe, it was also starting in London, and I remember walking into a pub with a friend, and I guess just being the typical American in that we walk in, we sit down at the pub, we order our pints, there's a couple of locals sitting there. They say, "How you doing?" We say, "Great." And then these words come out of my mouth which anybody who lives in LA this is just almost second nature. But I say, "So what do you guys do?"
Yeah.
And they burst into laughter, right? These couple of locals. And I say, what's so funny? And it's like, typical Americans, right? You lead with, what do you do? And one of them said, I'll tell you, what we do is work in a brew pub so that we can come here and enjoy ourselves.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? We don't want to, the last thing we want to talk about is work. And so then we just wind up having an amazing conversation about their lives.
And that's a great thing. Everywhere I go, every place I've been, I come back with a lesson, at least one lesson. Like when first time I was going to go to Paris. I'm getting ready to do that, and a lot of my friends said, "Why are you going to Paris? French people hate Americans. They can't stand us. They're going to be so rude." You know what? I'm here to tell you, in my experience, French people do not hate Americans. French people just hate douchebags. Just be kind. Just be courteous.
Yeah, perhaps be a good human.
Be a good human.
Yes.
And just be open. And I don't speak French. I maybe know 2 words, and I pronounce those badly. I never tried. I never tried to impress. I never did that. And I loved the French people, and they hopefully loved me.
Yeah, that is key. Obviously, one shouldn't generalize in life in general, but like also you have to be open to that spirit of adventure or getting lost. Yeah. I'm a big fan of getting lost as well. One of my I was just in Taipei a couple of weeks ago, and I got horribly lost one afternoon, and there you have literally no linguistic cues to work with of any kind. You know, you can kind of figure it out in London, right, in the underground, but you get on a train in Taipei, and if you don't know exactly where you're going, good luck to you. But I love that feeling. I love that feeling. Yeah. I also love that feeling that travel always kind of puts you a little bit on edge. Like I took my family to China once, and we wound up going across the country, walking both ends of the Great Wall. But there was a moment where we were in Xi'an, which is the home of the extraordinary terracotta soldiers, which is this incredible archaeological dig, one of the greatest in the world, right? Is. And we had, through a series of circumstances, I was working on a project here in LA, and I knew a Chinese producer, had connections to a Chinese producer who then apparently had family who worked in the Xi'an government, right? So we didn't know what this was going to get us, but I just let them know that we were going to be in Xi'an. I was going to have my 3 kids, and cut to, we show up at the archaeological dig. There's a flurry of activity around us. People seem to be a little bit nervous. Our guide explains to us, as we are led down into the pit, that the last person who had this kind of access from the United States was President Clinton. So all I had done was just made a call saying, hey, we're going to go to Xi'an. Cut to, I'm now down in the pit with my wife and our 3 kids, and 2 of whom are precocious boys and fairly young. And I'm panicking at this point, like, because we're posing in and among the soldiers. And I'm like, please don't touch anything. Please don't
break the soldier.
This is a really bad game of dominoes that's about to happen. But that kind of, those are the experiences that really stick with you, is where you're just a little off balance, you're a little off axis. It takes you someplace you're not prepared to be.
And it expands your mind. It expands your being.
Yes.
For some reason, my favorite place to go, my go-to place, I've been many times now, because my first experience was so wonderful. I really wasn't expecting it to be this, but I have a connection with Italy. I love Italy.
You had me at Italy.
Yeah. Specifically Rome. I love Venice. I love Milan, but Rome to me, and I don't know why, you probably can tell by looking at me, I don't have an ounce of Italian blood in me, but I feel this emotional connection every time I go. I love the people. I love the way of life. I love the pace. Yeah. So this is something I learned. It take me maybe a day or maybe 2 days to just let go of my pace and
absorb what's around you.
Enjoy the pace of where I am.
Yeah.
Like I go into a restaurant, a steakhouse, or a beautiful wherever, and the bartender. Now, when I go, it's my favorite bar. It's called Harry's Bar.
This is a legendary bar
in Rome. But it'll be 4 years since I've been, and they're Brian, and I always immediately my mind goes to, did I do something so wild last time I was here?
I was just going to say, is that because there's a counterfeit bill thing behind the register with your face, or?
But the first time I went in, I ordered a martini, and it took 20 minutes, and I just gotten there,
this
so
is
I
the ugly American Brian.
Yeah, I'm like, it's taking forever. I'm never coming back here. But then I watched them. How they made it. They have a big glass pitcher of ice, and they slowly pour the vodka over the ice, and it's just this incredible ballet.
Yeah, they're making something with care.
And that's how they make their food. That's why the food is so freaking good. So yeah, to really accept the pace is important.
Look, this is, I promise to kind of keep the quotes to a minimum on our show, but the great Mark Twain, who said so many great things, once said that travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime.
Wow. Mark Twain, huge fan. That was beautiful. In fact, it reminds me of something my mother once told me when I was a little kid. She said, "That's it for you. No more pets, you little freak."
Wow.
And
I don't want to know any more about that story. I literally don't want you to say another word. But these experiences which you've had, which I've had, which so many people have had that enrich our lives, take us all kinds of new places. But you and I are kind of rank amateurs in this regard.
Yeah, we are, especially compared to our next guest. So when we come back, you will meet the most inspiring, the most fascinating individual I am lucky enough to call a friend.
You have friends?
Yeah, I have friends.
Wow.
I do. See what I did there, though? You know what that was?
What was that?
Hook.
Oh,
that's it.
Oh,
yeah, hooked it. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Welcome back. Not only is our guest today a longtime, very, very, very dear friend of mine, she hosts and produces her own travel show. You can see it on Amazon Prime and Go Traveler. The show is called Me, Myself, and the World. We are honored to welcome the incredible Pamela Holt.
Pamela Holt.
Oh, Beatnik. Hello.
Yes,
everybody.
Mary Beatnik. Super happy to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Now,
Thank you.
Pamela has always loved. Oh, wait, before we do that, when I called and invited Pamela to come, see if she would be nice enough to come in on our show.
Yeah.
She demanded something.
Oh, God.
Because she's so high maintenance.
Oh,
My
wow.
writer.
Wow.
But I'm going to try to do it in the voice or the inflection she said.
Okay.
I said, so will you come in and do this? And she goes, will there be macaroni and cheese?
Oh, that sounds just like your impersonation of your mother.
Well,
by
that's
the way.
all my imitation. That's my John Wayne, too. Macaroni and cheese.
Wow.
Pamela from one of my favorite restaurants in Beverly Hills. It's called The Grill on the Alley.
Oh, fancy mac and cheese.
With wonderful Pamela at the host stand.
Yes.
Oh, yes. We love her.
You took me there for my birthday once.
Wow, this whole show just became so bougie. It's overwhelming.
So bouge. But
Thank you.
this is the kind of person she is. She took me there for my birthday because Pamela, as a friend, is the kind of person that never forgets a birthday. But it's not just a birthday card. It's not just a text or a phone call, which I get that, and I get the card. I get everything. But she'll also set something up that's just exactly designed for her friend Brian. For instance, about a week before my birthday a few years back, she called me and said, what are you doing for your birthday? I don't know. Might be some friends. If you want to, maybe we get on. And she goes, well, I had an idea. She had already set up this appointment for us to go out and drive Indy cars.
Oh, my God.
We both drove Indy cars. And she knows I'm a adrenaline junkie. And so it was just so perfect for me. And we had a wonderful full day driving IndyCar.
Before we start another word more of this interview, can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Pamela, will you be my friend?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Pinky swear.
Okay, good. Yeah, pinky swear. Absolutely.
She's everybody's friend.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, all right. So you've known her for a while. I have only known you through your reputation and through my abilities to sort of check you out and check out your show and check out your story, which is kind of extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So before we sort of jump into like the meat and potatoes of what sort of started this odyssey for you, I want to talk to you a little bit about, we're talking about travel today, which is why you're here, of course.
Yes.
What kind of travel had you sort of done in your life? Had you done a lot of travel in your life before? What do we call it? BP? That'd be you.
That'd be me, yeah. And just so, let me interject this, that we have had Pam on the show now for over 5 minutes, and she's yet to say a word because we're yakking so much.
I know, we got to shut the hell up. Did you travel a lot as a kid?
My parents actually, we started internationally traveling when I was 13.
Okay.
And we went to Asia. That's why I loved hearing that you took your kids to China.
Yeah.
So we went to China in 83 when it was kind of just opening.
Yeah.
It was, completely guided. Everything you saw, ate, or did was curated and coached.
Yes. So, so clearly you had some adventurous parents, and they were trying to instill an appreciation for you of travel.
That and the diverse cultures and understanding really how lucky we are as American kids.
Yeah.
And being Americans and feeling that freedom.
Yeah.
So it was important for them to really start to expose us to other cultures early on.
Right. It's a big world.
How great you have your parents, number one.
Yes.
But so, what if you could share with us what led to you making a promise to yourself, a pledge, really, and in short, that pledge is 80 by 50.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I experienced a really traumatic car accident in my 30s.
Yikes.
And it nearly left me immobilized. And I said, okay, look, if I fully recover from this, I'm going to live life to the fullest every single day, be so grateful. And I made this 80 by 50 promise to myself that I would travel to 80 countries by the time I was 50.
Oh my God.
And I landed on my 80th country. I've now been to 93 countries and territories, but I landed on my 80th country on my 50th birthday.
You're amazing.
And being a friend of hers, I get the benefit of getting seeing all of her pictures.
I was just going to say, you get postcards, right?
It's just amazing.
That's incredible. Okay, so I understand this. Like these are these moments. I don't know why it requires this of human beings, but you have these moments where you are suddenly smacked upside the head and reminded of how precious it all is.
Absolutely.
Right? But you're in a lot of pain. You're having to go through what I would imagine would be a terrible recovery. Not easy to sort of just then jump out of bed and go hit 80 countries.
And doctors are warning her against it. Said this can't happen. You're not going to be able to do this.
Yeah, before I went into the spine surgery, I had called American Airlines the night before and I said, look, I want to put a ticket on hold. And if I call tomorrow, it means I lived, I made it through it. And go ahead and book this flight for 6 months out. And I think that if you will call it joie de vivre, just knowing you're looking forward to something, it really helps the healing process. And I also, for the whole operation team, I made them a mix CD. And I also, like right before I started, I picked up the scalpel and I put on this fabulous lipstick.
Of course.
And they were laughing hysterically. And they're like, this is going to be a good surgery.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You should also notice at the stage, before the accident, she was a busy, always working dancer, singer, actress, choreographer. She was incredibly busy on her way, and then that happened. So someone that with physical, that's her life.
Right.
Dancing.
Agile, flexible, all those things.
To lay there for how many months? I mean.
Yeah. The whole ordeal was more than a couple years. And just took a long time to heal. And my biggest thing is I really stopped singing a lot because I couldn't remember the words anymore.
Oh, wow.
So
this is really a life interrupted scenario that then you just decide laying there, okay, I got to take a right turn in life. I got to go do something else, or lots of other things. I mean, it's 80 by 50. That's an incredible goal to set for yourself.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have to go with the flow in life. Kind of picked me up from one street, dropped me off on another, and look how great it's been.
Because you used what you loved as your joy, not work, but your joy was traveling, and you just decided, okay, well, I love doing this, and I can do this. Yeah. And so she started with all these countries doing this travel show, me, myself, and the world. Now she has literally redefined what it means to solo travel. And this is so inspiring to me because her show, by the way, I'm a huge fan of your show, as you know, because it's not just, and here's the Eiffel Tower, and over here, now there's a good restaurant, and they serve, it is instructional, but you don't know you're being learned.
We like that kind of learning.
She slips it up. It slips it in.
But you just touched on something that I wanted to ask you about, which is like, it's not just that you set this goal 80 by 50, but then presumably this was a goal that you yourself were going to go do solo.
Yes.
That's a lot. I mean, I've done a little bit of solo travel, and even it kind of freaks me out a little bit sometimes, or you want to share things with people. How did that all come to be?
Well, I started solo traveling when I was 19. Okay. I lived in Japan for a while and would take, weekend trips.
Amazing.
Solo travel was kind of a necessity because I was always single. And I also came from film and television, so I just enjoyed the adventure. I enjoyed capturing it and sharing it with people.
You just enjoyed getting the hell out of Hollywood.
Yes.
I know this well.
And one thing I noticed is it was a talking point everywhere I went, and every aspect of my life, people would start to realize, oh, she's a solo traveler. And the amount of people that would come out of the woodworks and kind of whisper to me like, oh, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
But I have, and fill it in, job, family, partner, whatever. And I slowly realized that I could marry my filmmaking with my traveling to inspire people to get off the couch and take that leap. Really leap and let the net appear into solo travel, because it improves relationships, it improves yourself, it improves all aspects of your life. I know that sounds very grandiose.
No, it does not. This is one of the
couldn't agree more.
It's one of the hallmarks of being a good human is when you recognize I have a dream, and oh, wait a minute, this dream is shared by other people, and now I want to help them achieve the same kinds of dreams. It's amazing.
Something that I really pride myself is interviewing different solo travelers and locals alike. Why do people solo travel? And it's not, oh, I want to go see the Eiffel Tower. For some people, it's, I want to do something on my own. For some people, one woman that I interview, she had joined the U.S. military to fight in the Vietnam War.
Amazing.
She traveled to Vietnam to say sorry.
Wow.
And she solo traveled, and the solo travel was enough, let alone to go there to meet somebody. And we ended up finding the most perfect person for her to meet. And, I think that joy, that sort of finishing the circle for a lot of people. There's another guy I interview, actually found him lost on the streets of Saigon, and he was from Los Angeles, and he wanted to solo travel to learn to talk to people. He'd been behind a computer.
Oh, that's great.
That's incredible.
Great. So the solo travel is your theme, basically, and you inspire people, women especially, that it's okay. It is socially acceptable. People feel uncomfortable going to dinner alone. And I'm not one of those people. I love traveling alone. If I'm in a relationship, I of course will, if she wants to go on a trip together. But I just adore being out there alone and seeing what's around the next corner.
I was just going to say, when Brian and I go to dinner, we sit at opposite tables. We don't want to be anywhere near each other.
We talk really loudly.
Really loudly, yes. But
so what are the do's and don'ts of solo travel that you like to share with people?
Well, the first one...
And this is the learning part.
Yes, here's the teaching part. I think the biggest don't is don't believe that solo travel is traveling alone. For one, you'd mentioned I redefined solo travel. Solo travel, to me, is now an acronym. SOLO stands for Seeking Out Life's Opportunities. And when you're traveling solo, don't think that you're going to be alone either, because your circle is open. You're open to new friends, new experiences, new food. And so when you change that mindset, you change your experience 100%.
That's okay. I hope everyone is taking notes, because this is coming from a woman who's literally lived in huts in the Amazon rainforest and been detained by Russian authorities and bungee jumped in South Africa. I mean, you like literally dive into every aspect of travel, but that you do that confidently as a solo traveler and encourage other people to do it is just like...
Not only encourage, but kind of, again, teach them how to do it.
Yeah.
Some do's of solo travel.
My biggest do is culturally immerse yourself. Like you said, both of you like to see what's around the next corner. Sit at a local cafe, go to a sporting event, go to a street festival. There's where you're really going to meet the people and you're going to experience the culture. Not to be mean, but if you stay at some big hotel and hang out at the pool, why did you travel 12 hours to Dubai? So definitely do immerse yourself and do be safe. So my sort of catchphrase is that I say, pack your wits and trust your gut. We have that gut instinct for a reason. And when you feel it, pay attention to it, especially as a woman. And I'm a little bit different than most women, but if I think I'm being followed, I will turn around and look at the person and be like, how you doing? With my best New York accent. And that how you doing is sort of like, 1, I see you. 2, I can identify you. 3, maybe how you doing, and 4, you better watch out.
Yeah, there's an implied threat with that. How you doing? I'm not going to mess with you on the sidewalk.
So you're alone. You're a beautiful woman, and I'm sure those kind of things come up, right? But would you say that solo travel, the way you do it, actually makes you more confident and braver? Absolutely.
One of the best things about solo travel, guy or girl, is the confidence that you build. You're only relying on yourself. You have to carry your luggage, make decisions. And it's so important that with each decision that you make, you grow. Whether it's a positive decision or a negative decision, you learn from each experience. And I watch people. Okay, for example, the guy, Alvin, he started off, traveling for 30 days in 2020. He now lives in Berlin. He has this incredible life. Everything about his life changed because he grew in confidence in making decisions and just grew. His perspective changed.
And it's important to note here that Pamela has been arrested in some of the worst places to be arrested because she was simply trying to be a good human. You would bring sunglasses and all kinds of things to kind of third world countries and just hand them out to kids. And politically, some of these countries were very questionable, and you got in trouble for that many times.
Yes, in a couple, it always seems to be the communist countries. I had brought a lot of things for an orphanage. I had trouble getting to the orphanage. In fact, I'd even met a kid on the street who was maybe 11 at the time, and we went through 12 payphones. Couldn't get hold of the orphanage and ended up giving out all the items freely to the people on the street, judiciously. And this boy who helped me, I would see him every day. And at the end of the time, I'd given him little like baseballs and Dodger caps, and I gave him a towel. And he started crying, and I couldn't understand it. And I had to get someone to explain to me why he was crying that I gave him this towel. He had never owned a towel before.
Okay, so, I mean, she's angelic. But now that I know that you're impressed by this sort of thing, I was once arrested in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma for spray painting hair and a mustache and a beard on a chiropractor's billboard.
They arrested you for that?
They arrested me for that's good, right? That's good human stuff.
Yeah, that's really a gift.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a gift.
Thank you. Can I ask you, Pamela, I mean, so you said 93 countries now?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to ask that annoying question because it's fueled in large part by what we started talking about, which is like, I've got this desire to go on vacation really bad right now. So let me live vicariously through you a little bit. Can you try and single out, and I know this is going to be difficult, but can you try and single out like your top 3 most memorable travel experiences?
Yes, for sure. Antarctica and the Arctic. I mean, those are just kind of like bucket list check off points.
No one goes there.
They're so cool just to experience. I mean, I was having lunch out on the deck in Antarctica, and within, I don't know, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, it was suddenly a giant snowstorm. Wow. And you're like grabbing stuff off the table and running. I'm like, I love this. This is great.
Okay. That's so cool. So Antarctica.
Yes, for sure. Talk about getting lost, Italy and Greece, without a doubt.
Yep.
And I'm a Rome person as well.
Yeah.
Trastevere. Love it.
I'll meet you guys at Harry's Bar.
Okay,
so...
And what was the third one?
I love Japan.
It's so cool.
It is the coolest country. There's so many unique things. And so is China if you like hang out in Shanghai.
Yep.
But I'm going to go with Japan.
Japan is like one of those few places, and I certainly feel guilty saying this in front of someone like you who is as well-traveled as you are, but it's one of the few places I've been that I actively think I'd like to go back to. Mm-hmm. Just so interesting.
You are the exact kind of person that this show is about. Mm-hmm. And in fact, when Trey was talking to me about doing a show like this, the first person I thought, well, of course we're going to have Pamela.
He's not lying. You were the first name mentioned.
Yeah, you absolutely were. The way you teach, the way you inform, and the way you do acts of kindness are all part of it. It's not just, here's my travel show. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd love you to tell everybody about the story of what you call the Beach Boys.
Yes, this is such an incredible story, and I have just a small part to play in it. When I was in Hoi An in Vietnam, I was just, there's hundreds of coffee shops in Hoi An. Mm-hmm. Vietnam is known for their excellent coffee. Mm-hmm. I go into this small mom and pop shop. I'd even tried to talk to the owner a couple times, but as I was leaving, I said the word thank you. And he instantly says, "Oh my gosh, you're an American." I said, "Yeah, what did you think I was?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, "I need some help. I'm looking for somebody." And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what the universe opened up that he picked me. Yeah. And so he gives me this name, he gives me this man's approximate age, and said when he had been in Vietnam. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. This is from 1994. This is now 2020.
Right.
And I went home, I kept looking at the name, and I have a friend who works at a 3-letter agency. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Can you get me a list of everybody in the country with this name? Still alive, maybe dead." Mm-hmm. And one by one, I start calling people. Now, you can imagine the phone numbers I have. People think I'm crazy. Yeah. So I go from saying I'm me to I'm me with a TV show to, okay, I'm a journalist. Like, maybe that will help.
Right.
I get hung up on, I get people threatening me, all sorts of things. And a couple months go by, and the 3-letter agency guy calls me, and he said, "Did you get any luck?" I said, "No, I haven't found the person." And on that same day, the coffee shop owner messages me, and he said, "Did you find him?" So I start making calls. I mean, we're talking within an hour of each other. Mm-hmm. I start making calls, and I'm going to try not to cry. About 10 calls in, this guy picks up the phone. I said, "Hi, I'm a journalist." That's all I got out. And he yells down the phone, "Did you find the Beach Boy?" And I went, "What?" Because the Beach Boys in Vietnam were a group of kids who would often be asked to leave the home as young as like 5 years old if they couldn't feed them. Mm-hmm. So they would all live together on the beach and sell trinkets to tourists. 94, 90s, there wasn't a lot of tourists, especially in Hoi An.
Right.
And so, I found this guy. He's in Palm Springs. He's a realtor in Palm Springs. And I connected the two men who'd been looking for each other for over 30 years.
All from a cup of coffee.
All from a cup of coffee. And thanks to that PI 3-letter guy.
Are you still in touch with them?
All three. Yes.
Yeah.
But here's the craziest part. I've spoken about Alvin from Los Angeles, who's in season 2, episode 1. He messages me. He was also a little bit of the impetus. He messages me like 2-3 months after I'd met him. And he's like, "Do you know some guy named Quan who owns a coffee shop in Hoi An?" I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "I stumbled upon this adorable little coffee shop, talking to this owner, and I tell him how I was interviewed for this girl's travel show, and he goes, 'Oh, I know this woman also in California,' and it was me."
It was you.
This is just extraordinary. You're extraordinary. Pamela, you have taken literally one of the worst experiences you could have in life, and you have opened yourself to a series of adventures that physically and mentally and emotionally made you stronger, but more importantly, also connected you to people, reconnected people with each other. This is the absolute definition of being a good human in my book. I see why you were so insistent we have her on this show. Yeah. I just have one question, which is, if you had to pick between taking Brian or me on your next trip, who would it be?
Oh, boy. I'd probably give up my ticket and let both of you go together.
Oh, see what a good human she is?
That would be so depressing for me.
This is incredible. Okay.
I was hoping it would be Pam, and it's Trey.
I wanted to share one thing. I was thinking about this on the way over. You look for people to be good humans, and everyone's like, oh, there are miracles in this day and time, right?
Yep.
Sometimes we can be the miracle. Sometimes we can be the butterfly effect that starts it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day when I was in New York, I paid for the guy behind me for a meal.
Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
It was me.
And so when I started walking away, this guy was yelling at me like, what are you doing? Why did you pay for my meal? And I had to explain to like 5 people what it means to pay it forward.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I watched their faces, and I know at least one of them will pay it forward, and it just keeps spreading if we can all do that.
And that is Pamela Holt.
That is Pamela Holt. So because everyone else watching and listening here has now fallen in love with you the way we have, how can people follow you? I know PamelaHolt.com, right?
Yes.
And what are the other ways that they can, on all the socials, yes?
On all the socials, at the Pamela Holt. And you can stream Me, Myself, and the World, The Art of Solo Travel on Amazon Prime. But you can now stream it for free on Go Traveler. It's also on Tubi, lots of other places.
Freebie and all those places, yeah.
Amazing. Give it up for the incredible good human Pamela Holt.
Pamela, I've told you this before, but I'm going to share it with everyone. I truly believe, since almost the day I met you, that the planet is a much better place because you're on it.
Thank you.
You are what this show is.
Ditto.
You are indeed. And I would have given her more than cold macaroni and cheese, but that's just
what
me.
she wanted.
That's okay.
It was in the contract writer.
We'll work for mac and cheese.
Okay, good. I like that. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Oh my God, she's amazing.
Yeah. The one downside about being the very close friends is I didn't get to see her that much.
Well, yeah.
Because she was always out of town.
93 countries.
It was great when I'd get a phone call, I see it's her, and I just ended up answering the phone. Where are you now?
Geographically undesirable, I suppose. Please do follow us on the socials if you're not already. That's Facebook and Instagram and Threads and TikTok and Twitter X, whatever they call it at this point. Also, definitely visit our website, begoodhumanspodcast.com, where you can not only, again, tell us about the good humans in your life
that you want us to talk to.
Correct, because we need to know those people. But also you can give us some of your best pointers on how to be a good human, and God knows we could use a few of those.
Daily pointers. Just daily advice on how you feel good about doing something great for another person.
Give us those pointers, begoodhumanspodcast.com. Also, if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, click like and subscribe, please. That would be very helpful for us. If you really, you claim to love us. If you really love us, like and subscribe.
Is there like a thing you can click that says really like, or?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, that would be going to our Patreon page. And there you can be a BGH VIP, right? Join us there, subscribe to get all kinds of fun stuff. It's bonus material that didn't make it into the show, maybe even some more amazing stories from Pamela, member exclusive videos and posts. We're even going to do some occasional live Q&As so you can actually watch me clip my toenails. No, I promise, never. See, I just lost every Patreon subscriber.
Why would you? Yeah, why?
I know, that's awful. I'm really sorry.
That's going to be in my head.
I know, as if it wasn't already. Bottom line, you can get some super cool exclusive exclusive access to special stuff that you cannot get for free on the podcast or through our social media accounts. That's it. I think it's your turn to say it if I'm keeping track, because I'm getting the hell out. I'm going to LAX.
Are you?
Are you going to go have some coffee in Vietnam?
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank Pamela for being here and being so wonderful. Not just today, but every day of her life, every second, she's wonderful. And to you all, be good humans.
Be good humans. Be good humans. Be good humans, or we will think you suck. Be good humans. Be good humans. Be good humans, or we will think you suck.